Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
I'm your host, Devon.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
We are real moms.
Sharing real experiences. The things people don't tell you.
Hey, mama, hey.
Hey, Mama, hey.
How are you, friend?
I'm doing.
Same.
I'm doing.
If this is your first time listening, I'm your host, Devon.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
Welcome. I feel like we have not recorded an episode in years.
Yeah, I feel a little rusty. I ain't gonna lie.
No, that's factual. That's factual. While we have released episodes, we haven't recorded in a while because y'all know we do bulk recording. So it feels not new, but it feels like we haven't been here
coming out of retirement.
I know, but that's all right because we can just shoulders, backs, knees, everything off real quick.
Yeah.
But what's going on, friend?
So
how is life?
Life is lifing, and so if this is your first time listening, this episode may be a little heavy.
Yes.
We may shed some tears. We recently lost a very close friend. Family, actually. We've created a family with this person. So we're actually dedicating this episode to Kenard Stevens, who we recently lost to cancer. And so we're just going to reflect on his life and the impact he's had on us and Diamond and how we are navigating through that. People lose people every day. But it's hard when you have to mother and wife and nurture your husband
yes,
as well, and still try to be a supportive friend.
Yeah.
So
we will. This will be a Waterworks episode,
probably.
But just to give some context, Kenard was, he was my husband's best friend, but he became family to all of us. Kenard and his wife Diamond. We all went to college together at FAMU. He was literally like the life of the party. Every room he walked in, it's like, Kenard is here because he's either loud or he's dancing, cracking jokes, or just simply being like a support. Like if something happened, it was a gloomy, dark day, he's like, why are y'all like, no, like we're not doing this today. So he was like the light and life of the party. And while his physical presence is no longer here, he still makes it known that his spirit is very well present. So thank you, Kenard, for still showing up for us in this way. But we will miss him.
Definitely. We will miss him a lot.
Yeah.
And so with that, me personally, in my mind, like we know cancer is like a beast, but I just put in my mind, we had at least till Thanksgiving. We will have our last Thanksgiving together and just make it a great thing. And unfortunately that did not happen. But he's no longer suffering. Jerry and I were able to go down a few times while he was still with us, and just seeing him in that state was very hard.
Yeah.
Because like Kendra said, he's the life of the party. And even when we first found out the diagnosis of cancer, like he was always optimistic. He was still hyped, dancing, laughing, like I'm gonna beat this. And we're like, yes, of course, absolutely. And so seeing him not being able to talk or move or things like that, I feel a sense of peace almost because he's not suffering anymore. But selfishly, I wanted him to beat this and I wanted him to be here with us.
Yeah.
But I'm happy he's no longer suffering. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan was able to go down and visit about a month or so ago for a week just to make sure he could be present and let Kenard know, like, bro, like you're not alone in this fight. Like we're here to support you. And while I wasn't able to physically go down, I was able to see him on FaceTime. And I'm like, this is not the same person. No. Like physically he didn't, it was hard to see. And I can only imagine how it was like in person being there to support him physically, socially, and in all things, and again, shout out to Diamond for while she was his wife and all things as it relates to that, she was also his friend. Like they met at a Boys and Girls Club when they were kids, you know, and grew up together essentially, and then grew into becoming this beautiful union. Like, this is the prime example of what it looks like to stick by your spouse through sickness and in health. So while we're dedicating this episode to Kenard, I also want to dedicate this to Diamond too. Absolutely. Because she has shown up even despite Kenard's illness. She has shown up for us as friends and as a godmother to Eli and auntie to Drew and Jay. Like, she, despite all the things she had going on personally with her husband, she was still very much so present with us. So shout out to Diamond as well. Yes.
And Diamond was on earlier seasons.
She was.
Before we had this upgrade.
She was.
We did a Friendsgiving. That was really good. It was fun. It was energetic, but it didn't look like this. Yeah. So with that, shout out to Diamond for sure. And I'm just grateful that we're able to kind of support her. And she's allowing us to support her, because a lot of times you just don't know what you need. And sometimes she will articulate that. We're like, hey, friend, what you need? She's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, that's okay. Well, we're just going to come down. And if that's just sitting with you, we're going to sit with y'all.
Yeah.
And even with Kenard being sick, he still found ways to tell jokes.
Not be serious.
Yes.
He never takes anything seriously.
Shaking their head and rolling them eyes and making faces, and you knew he was being funny. But I won't forget this. One time I went down to visit, and he was tired that day. You could tell he was just tired. And they have stairs in their house. And he looked at Jared, and his eyes went over them glasses. He talking about, how much you bench press? And Jared was like, what? He was like, at least 200 pounds. He talking about, good, you can carry me up the steps. I said, that is Kenard.
Yeah, 100%.
But yes, Diamond is just like, when you think of strength and resiliency, her faith, first of all, her faith
unmatched,
has really challenged me to dig deeper, because it's really unmatched. And so I really aspire to be like that when it comes to like my faith with the Lord.
100%.
The way she just shows up, and she's just always positive and just never stop believing.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a really strong person to do that.
Absolutely. And just a prime example of her character. So, y'all know, before Eli was born, I said I was giving him a 5th birthday Disney cruise. That has been the plan on the books since he was 0 months old. And his cruise, he turns 5 this year, and his cruise is happening. And the cruise was scheduled for the weekend of October 4th. And Kenard unfortunately passed this week, September 20th, 3rd, I think is the day. I can't remember exactly, but which means that the service will take place October 4th. And it has been a hassle to change it, but Disney thankfully has worked with us, and I'm grateful for that. But they did require proof of death, essentially. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to ask her for this? And she just lost her husband. Like, it felt like this is not okay to ask. But I had to in order to shift things for Eli. So I asked her, I said, friend, I'm so sorry that I have to ask you for this. But I did. And she said, no worries. Like, I'll get you what you need. And she got it to me the next day. And I said, thank you. Like, I really appreciate you. But not only did she send it to me, she's like, did everything work out? Like, just yesterday she texted and said, were you able to get everything processed? I'm so sorry that. I'm like, girl, you don't have to apologize to me for anything. Like, you have enough to deal with. But it's just the fact that she was still thinking of us and, you know, things that we had to change, and the resource that she had to provide, like, selfless, you know? So, again, like, her character and just who she is as a person is just a beautiful sight to see. And it is her, to the faith that she has is unmatched, and we all aspire to have that kind of faith, that level of faith.
Yeah. Speaking of the cruise, we had to drop out.
Yes.
Only because it just got too expensive. And so people say you should get travel insurance, and when it's not $1,000 extra on the trip. And so that's what we were up against. So we, in our minds, we're like, we have at least until Thanksgiving. Kenard ain't going nowhere. And so we didn't get the insurance. And so we are in the process of trying to get our money back.
You will. Your money is coming back.
And so we are actually going through our credit card company, because Disney was just like, you had a loss. Sorry, you should have got the insurance. But our credit card company has been working with us, and they actually require the death certificate as well. And Jared was like, well, it's kind of early. We don't feel comfortable asking for that right now. Can we give you something else? And they actually worked with us with that. So I think eventually we will have to provide that, but we didn't want to act so early.
Yeah.
But even with that, just dropping out the cruise and not being able to show up for Eli,
you'll
something
be
that's
fine,
been planned for like 5 years. So
Eli will be, trust me, Eli
I'm sure
will
you have a
just
great
fine.
time. But yeah, if anybody's ever planning to go on that cruise, definitely
Get insurance.
Get your insurance, because it's pricey already, and then they tax you.
I'm gonna just be fully transparent.
Yeah.
And say that we ended up paying for another cruise to change it, like an extra $2,880. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
Yeah.
When that lady said that, I said, ma'am, are you, like, is this the only? She said, this is it. We only have 3 cabins left. So it's either you take it or you leave it. You leave it. And I'm like, I already told my baby that we're going on this cruise. Family has already switched to this. We got to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, I don't care what's going on. Like, I got to make sure I show up for my pumpkin.
Yeah, we still haven't told the boys, and Drew actually has a countdown. So I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to maneuver this.
Y'all will figure it out. You always do.
And we'll go a different time, especially if we get reimbursed. We'll go a different time. And I'm hopeful that is going to happen.
It will.
The company has been very great. I'm not releasing their name yet, because if they don't, then I have some other things to say. But if they do great, then of course I'm going to give them all the praises.
I want to also just shout out the importance of showing up for your community through times like this. Yeah. So obviously Kenard's passing was hard on all of us. Our entire friend group, everybody is going through it, to be fully transparent. And when this happened, one of Eli's godmothers, who Tiffany, hey Tiffany, and also Jared, they both just stepped in and was like, you know what, we'll get it figured out. Y'all already have too much going on. We got it. And I'm like, leave it to the 2 Leos to get it to get it squared away. This is the only time I'm shouting the Leos out. Okay, just to be clear.
Okay, we thorough now. Don't be trying to.
But both of them just like stepped in. Jared made the first call, got some information. Tiffany followed up, and before we knew it, we were able to work through a process that allowed us to change this cruise, despite the fact that we didn't even have insurance.
And they did things that the travel agent wasn't able to do.
Yes.
Because of the verbiage.
Yeah.
That they use. So, yeah, shout out
Absolutely.
to them.
Shout out to
Well,
Tiff
you know, Jared
and
gonna
Jared.
make some things happen.
This is the importance of picking good godparents. They were like, we're not going to let Eli not be on this cruise for his 5th birthday. And they knew that I did not have the physical and mental bandwidth. I was going to do it. And Tiff said, let me handle this. Jared, being who he is, he just went on ahead and handled it. He didn't even say nothing. There's no consultation, which I appreciate. But I wanted to be very intentional about saying that, because it's all in just showing up for each other despite what's going on in life. Like, you having that community, it means more than anything.
Yeah.
So, and we've never really we've lost friends. Like, I know I lost a close friend in college, but I was in college. Like, now I'm an adult. Life is really life, and And to lose a close friend at this point in life it's different. It hits different.
Especially when you're so hopeful for them to beat the cancer. And we did all the things. We did fasting as a friend group. We prayed. We visited. We were faithful. We were in our Bibles. We were doing all the things. But God has the final say. We cannot question him, although it's very hard.
I know, Lord. I'm going to be honest. I'm trying not to say, Lord, like, why? But in the end, selfishly, we wanted Kenard here in the physical. But he knew and God knew, like, this is, you've served your purpose, and he served his purpose very well. But it's still hard to digest that this is a reality. And we're getting older. And that's also another conversation for another episode. But that's,
Let's talk about, like, just showing up for your friends and each other. Like, what does that look like? Especially if somebody else is going through this and they don't know what to do, even if they're like a distant friend,
Yeah. So sometimes I approach people how I want to be approached. Like, I don't like people texting me every 5 minutes, like, how are you doing? Because I feel like I got to answer that question every 5 minutes. And that's just me reliving whatever the circumstance is. So I try to check in like every other day, like, hey, and even it's not the question of how are you doing, just letting you know that I'm thinking about you, or I'm gonna slide you $20 to get you 4 or 5 days worth of Starbucks, something like just showing up for you in that way. Not always asking the question of how are you, but hey friend, just letting you know I'm thinking about you, love you, I'm here if you need me, I'll be checking on you. That's it. Now, of course, if there's more that needs to be done to support that friend, whether it's a physical or an emotional or whatever, then I'm there. But like I'm not the overly, in quote, aggressive person when it comes to showing up in that way, if that makes sense.
Same. I'm not texting every day, but I will. But I think it's very important to show up after everything is done. I think people 100%. Forget that piece. Because grief does not go away. And I think when things are first happening and starting and the planning, of course, everybody's showing up. But what are we doing for these people after the fact? And so I think that's very important. So if you're someone who is trying to help someone, maybe fall back in the beginning because they're getting a lot of support in the beginning. But think about the middle and later, holidays, birthdays, like, all those triggering things, like, you really have to be there to try to support them during those times. And I think we forget about that. Yeah.
And that's honestly probably the hardest part. It's like after a service has happened, after all the friends and family are gone and you're just there, then what? So that after is very much so, it's probably more important than the during the present.
So decisions about telling Eli, are y'all going to do that? Are you allowing him to go to the service? What does that look like for him?
So Eli does not know, and I'm not sure we'll be telling him. Now, if he asks where Gotti Kenard is, then we don't believe in lying. But we would have to tell him in a way that he understands, So me and Jonathan haven't like had that true sit down conversation, but I feel like there's a mutual understanding that we're just not going to say anything, at least right now. But Jonathan also, he asked me last night, actually, like, do you think we should take Eli to the funeral? And I personally do not. For several reasons. One, Eli's never been to a funeral. That's number one. Number two, funerals are a space where it's a lot of things happening, a lot of things that children his age don't or won't understand. I can't explain to him in that moment. I can't console Jonathan and tend to Eli. Granted, my parents will be there too, but I also don't want them tussling with a 4-year-old during a service. Like, it's it's too much. So Eli's gonna be with you, with your brother and boys, but I'm not I'm not telling him unless he asks.
Yeah. We were on the same page about not telling the kids. Very adamant about that. We talked about it. But Jared felt the spirit doing prayer somehow. I don't know what he was thinking.
Leave it to Jared.
I mean, we were praying. I was ready to punch him. Like, I was ready to punch him during the prayer. And he was like, Lord, I just pray Kenard is in heaven with you, right? It was an accident. It was pure. It wasn't. And we pray for Kenard every night. It's part of the kids' prayer. And Drew is still praying. Well, was still praying for Kenard. Like, please heal him. Please heal Uncle Kenard. And so when he said it, my heart stopped, literally. But I was trying not to react.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want the boys to notice. But if anybody knows Drew, boy, don't miss a beat. So he said,
he is his mama's child.
So he goes, wait, what? And like, my baby's face. Whew.
Yeah.
He was just so heartbroken. And he was like, what do you mean? And, sorry. He was like, did he pass away? And I was like, I couldn't say anything. And, in that moment, you have to be honest. Like, you can't lie. Jay doesn't really understand death the way Drew does. Cognitively, Drew is older. So Jay is like, oh, well, he'll come back because he's used to like things in Spider-Man when people die and come back, and they're in private school, so it's about Jesus coming back and things like that. So the way he understands death is different. Trying to get through.
Leave it to Jada to bring us back. Like,
Right.
he's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. And Drew is just so crushed. Like, wait, he didn't get healed. God didn't heal him. So now he has all these questions that I don't have answers to. And Jared was just like, he's no longer suffering. He's in heaven now. That is a good thing. We should be happy for that. But he's still like confused.
Yeah.
So they know. Wasn't intentional. Hopefully it went like it ended there. He hasn't brought up anything, and I don't want to bring up anything.
Yeah.
And so that's how they found out. Unfortunately, they will not be going to the funeral. Me personally, they're not ready for that, and I don't want them. We've been keeping it together around them, and I want to be able to emotionally release.
Absolutely.
And not worry about how my kids are feeling.
Yeah. I agree with you there. And I honestly, Eli has been a joy for Jonathan. Like, he has been the thing that has kept his mind off of Kenard and his illness. So I personally think Jonathan wants Eli there for comfort. Yeah. And I completely understand. I would love, like, he's our baby, he's our comfort. He's the little person that brings us back to reality. Like, yeah, you're grieving, and I also want my chocolate milk. Right. Like, so it's like, well, you know what? Yeah. Thank you, Eli, for just keeping our mind off of what's happening. But he's not ready for a space like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, yes, but I'm glad that we talked about this because it is necessary. As moms, we still have to show up for the rest of life, although we may be grieving a friend or a family member or a coworker, whomever, you know. So I'm glad that we had this conversation because it is a reality for us.
Yeah, so it's not 30s. These 30s are hard.
They are. That y'all, I wrote a post on Facebook maybe a couple months ago, and I said nobody talks about how hard the 30s are. The 30s have been the hardest decade for me. Granted, I don't remember all of the 10, 0 to 10, 11 to 19, 20. You know, things happen. 20s even, things happen. But the 30s, from 3-0 to now 3-6, almost 3-7.
You must say 3-7
I'm
at this
still
point.
3-6 right now. It has been, every year it's been some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have we been blessed? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Counting the blessings. And there's been a lot of shit that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot. Life-changing things that have happened in the 30s. And I think we need to be more transparent about how transformative the 30s are.
Yeah. That's good.
That might be another episode.
Yeah, because it's definitely different. I don't know. It's because it's more responsibilities. We're responsible for more. We are accruing more. So therefore, naturally, you're responsible for more.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about home ownership, okay, yeah, great, buy the house. But then when things start falling apart.
Please don't. That's a
Okay.
whole...
When
Y'all,
things
I
start
had
falling apart in the
hole
house.
in my floor last week. A hole.
Did they finish it?
They fixed the hole,
Okay.
but there's still other things that need to be done.
Okay.
Which, you know, has a hefty bill attached to it on top of the... Another episode.
Yeah, it's just so many bills that... I mean, hit and run accident. The people ain't got no insurance.
Yes,
Okay,
y'all,
not
yeah.
hit and run. Sorry, they hit me. Okay, they crashed into the back of us. They politely pulled over. We go to exchange information. Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry. We don't have no insurance. What? Oh, and by the way, this is not my car. What? This is not my boyfriend's car either. It's his company's car. What?
A whole lot of what?
What? Okay.
It's time
So
to reach
it's
40. Let's just get to 40.
I hear the 40s are great. And
I'm
maybe
here for
you're
it. I'm claiming
maybe
it.
you're just more financially stable there. Maybe the income is
But
incoming.
the thing
I don't
is,
know.
friend, we got income coming now.
The income don't match the things that's going on.
I just, again, another episode for another day because we can go all day about that.
Yes.
And we really can. So
The income is not matching the things that are coming out. Okay,
income
don't
ain't matching the
understand.
outcome.
It's not
Is that what
matching
it
the
is?
outcome. Okay, it's not matching the outcome, and they tell you to do all these things, and maybe because we're working towards it, maybe because it wasn't given, maybe our kids would see the benefits of these things because I don't.
I'm just
see
ready to rest. I want to rest.
Same,
That's it.
same.
I just want to rest.
Rest. Yes.
I'm not my mama and my daddy who gonna be working till
Yeah.
they 60 something and not doing that.
Yeah.
That's not my life. I wasn't built for that. I wasn't.
Yeah. So we are.
I'm not built
We're
for it.
definitely trying to put things in steps, but the step has got cracks and
that
holes
step-
and foot stuck, can't get out.
Steps
Like,
missing.
Right.
Like,
Hopping
it's
and
just-
leaping. Lord. Started
Like,
from the
dang,
bottom.
I
And we ain't here.
tripped on that step.
We more like here.
And I stayed tripping going upstairs.
Man,
So
man.
just, you know, that's another message in itself.
Yeah, the 30s are definitely 30 and whatever that means.
So y'all, because today's episode was just, we knew it would be a little heavy. We didn't need anything
To drink.
to intensify all the emotional feelings and things that we have going on right now. So our mama juice today is agua. It is water.
I love how we said that at the same time and did not plan that.
Agua. H2O. We are drinking
Water.
water to hydrate us
Yes.
and keep our skin glowing because we have had some dark and gloomy days over the last week. Really, it's been a long week.
Yeah.
So we're drinking water today,
Drinking water. I'm not mad at that.
and that's the name of the drink. We drinking water today.
Listen, she said it, not me. I'm not mad at it. Mama's Corner. So if this is your first time listening, Mama's Corner is my favorite segment because we get to connect with our guests further if we have guests or each other. Typically, you guys are writing, and you can write in at mama@therealmamapod.com. I do check those emails. And sometimes we're reflective when I come up with an additional question. And I think this is important right now for us because this was kind of dark. I want to always try to turn it into a positive. You know
Okay,
me.
I appreciate that.
So I
friend.
have 2 questions for you. The first one is, with this week being hard, how have you made yourself proud? And what have you done for yourself as far as, like, maybe, let's just say self-care?
This is such a Devonish question.
I know.
These are such Devonish questions. How have I made myself proud?
Pull it out.
I'm digging deep because it's been a week.
Yeah.
Devon, why didn't you tell me this question before we started?
Because I want you to think about it.
I will say this.
There you go.
This is a long term. So Eli has been, the start of this school year, he had some struggles. My boy was having a hard time focusing. I don't know why, but he was. So Jonathan and I, we do education time with Eli, but we had kind of slacked off because of all the things. Like, I was busy with work as always. Jonathan was also just busy with life and all things, and we weren't as consistent as we were. So when we noticed that Eli had been, having some issues at school, we said we got to crack back down on education time. So we did. And this week we got a message from his teacher. He has 2 teachers, and there's one teacher who don't play. If he cutting up, she gives me A to Z to report. The other teacher, she'll just surface level say, Eli, it was okay today. Like, she doesn't give too much detail, but the other one will. The teacher who is the one that doesn't play the radio, she told Jonathan that Eli has been such a leader in class. He's been teaching and supporting his peers with reading and sight words. And we're like, our kid, just a few weeks ago, he was cutting up and not listening. And now this week we got this report that says that he has really been improving. He's been a leader in the classroom, and it made us very proud. So that's how I guess I made myself proud this week. The news came this week, but it has been progress over the last few weeks. Okay. So I know that it's not directly me, but it is me pouring into my child. And the outcome is proud.
Because I definitely asked about you.
I know you did.
But, okay.
I know you do. You did.
How have you taken care of yourself this week?
I have been putting my phone down because the phone is always a constant reminder of our reality. Like, if I go on social media, I see Kenard's face everywhere. Like, literally, there are people who knew Kenard. I didn't even know they knew Kenard. And I said, well, damn, I didn't even know they knew each other. But it just speaks to his presence and the impact he had. But it was a constant reminder of this is what's going on. But that's how I showed up for myself this week. I'm putting the phone down. I'm just going to focus on centering myself because I still have a whole bunch of things going on in life, but also making sure I'm present for Jonathan because he needs me right now. We need each other.
Yeah.
What about you?
For
Both
me,
questions.
For me.
How have you made yourself proud?
I prepared for a hurricane by myself.
You did.
I sure did, because Jared had to work in D.C. And usually Jared does all the things. I just show up and I know I'm safe. Okay? I don't have to do anything. I don't think about anything. No checklist, no nothing. And this man was gone.
Real life G.I. Joe out here.
Thankfully, the hurricane didn't impact us too much, but I was able to prepare. I was able to just have the things we needed just in case we didn't have power or, the things that happened with electricity. I mean, with hurricanes. So I was prepared for that. And me and the boys, flashlights charged and ready. We had water. We had things we could eat. If I couldn't cook, we were ready. We were ready for the storm. So I was really proud of myself for that because typically I just played Jared.
Yeah, that's not your vibe.
I don't have to worry about nothing.
Good job, friend.
So, yes. And then I was prepared for him getting stuck in D.C., not being able to get to us, which was mentally taxing, especially after the week we had. But I had to kind of pivot and just go into protector mode. So,
yeah.
Made myself proud for that.
I hear you.
Because I'm a city girl. I don't be doing these hurricanes.
And
not a city girl like these city girls. I'm originally from New York City. That's why I'm a city girl.
No, not like 305
okay,
city
I'm
girls.
A true city girl. No shade. And then how have I poured into myself? I can't even answer that on my own question. I did detangle my hair, which took 2 hours. Yeah, because it was very matted. I've been working out. I've been running hard and sweating in my hair. And hair and working out, I have not figured that out. Like, braids. It's so hard. Yes, but my hair need a break from the braids because I've been in braids since Easter. Need a break. Okay.
Or some flat twists, like while you're working out.
Listen, Yeah, I haven't figured it out, okay? I'm going to get there. The hardest part is working out. I can deal with my hair later. However, I did detangle and washed and deep condition my hair.
Good job.
That's
friend.
a huge step for me.
It is. It is. You did 2 big things this week.
I did.
I'm proud of you, girl.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. Even though you didn't tell me how you made yourself proud, but I'm proud of Eli because, and that's probably a different episode, but him and Drew have been giving us the business in these schools. So yeah, but yeah.
Oh.
Well, Kenard, we love you. I know you're listening and watching and doing all those things. Diamond, we love you. We are here for you.
100%.
100% away, girl. You're gonna have to really like give us the boot if you want to get rid of us, but we here.
Before we give this episode the boot, I want to shout out our SC Media Group team.
Yes.
So we are now under a membership with them, and it still feels the same. It still looks the same, and it's just good vibes here, you know. So I wanted to shout them out and also share that if you're interested in getting a membership with the SC Content House here in Atlanta, Georgia, hit them up. They got all the things, all the razzle, the dazzle. You can see the razzle dazzle behind us.
Yeah.
So definitely check them out for all of your content needs.
Yeah, and they have different packages. So we know as podcasters, you're a little broke.
Yes.
Especially when those sponsorships don't kick in and you funding everything yourself and all that stuff. But they really work with you. They have some amazing deals and you still get quality. I mean, quality lighting, you know, mics, mic check 1 2 1 2, the cameras, all that. So definitely check them out. It's been an amazing experience. I mean, I don't feel a difference. Even though we're a membership now, I don't feel everything's the same to me, but the team is great. They're very knowledgeable. They work hard, and the reels do what it's due.
They doing
The lights, all that, it works. So
the upgrade is still here. So we wanted to say that we appreciate y'all, and to also encourage you all to check out SC Content House if you are interested in any content related needs.
Yes, and lastly, I do have to fuss because we don't have a review. So yes, y'all right. We back. We know we've been missing for a while, so you're probably all caught up on all the episodes and all those things. But go ahead and write us a review. It helps us. It helps us chart. It helps us get our name out there. We are growing every single day, and it's because you're writing those reviews, but you kind of stop. So continue to write them, okay?
Yeah.
We love y'all.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.